Good morning. This is Desiree Whalen with the Whalen team, and thank you for stopping by to take a look at our predictions for our area. And since last time I was spoke to you guys, I'm with a new company. So now I'm the Whalen team with Nest Realty. So that's where I'm coming to you from in our new office. So I'm excited about that, and I'm excited to talk with you about our 2026 predictions, and it's based on economists from NAR and some seasoned gurus that I follow that have a really good pulse on the industry because they work with agents and they've been doing it for 30 years. So I really rely on what they're hearing and saying, and some interesting stats that I think will be very interesting for you to hear. Let me go ahead and pull up the slide here. Okay, here we go. 2026 real estate predictions. Let's see. Why are you moving? There we go. All right. So, in this coming April, I'll review with you guys how 2025 went and the first quarter, but I'll also talk with you about how we're doing with our predictions so far. So it'll be really interesting to hear that. And this and I'm excited because this will be kind of our first time getting into a real spring season. We haven't had that in so long. We're predicting that we will be coming into what we call returning to the rhythm of 2019, going back to pre-COVID years. They're calling this the year of recovery and hope. And so I'm hoping that we will see some more regularity within our area. So just to kind of illustrate how we are starting to get back to the way things kind of were, I'm going to compare 2019 versus 2025. So in 2019, we had 4.4 months of supply. We had 4.7 months of supply in 2025. In 2019, we had 36 days on the market. In 2025, we had 34 days on the market. 1.21 million listings in 2019 and 1.3 million listings in 2025. The only thing that won't go back probably to 2019 is probably the purchase prices of homes. So, in 2021, that was really an artificial market. And the last 3 years, we have just really kind of seen some flat numbers. And so we're hoping that sellers are adjusting to that. And it seems like that they are, that we're no longer putting out a number there and everybody's jumping on a house. So now we will likely see some micro markets. Last time I spoke a little bit about what micro markets are. What those are is that within an area, you will have pockets that just aren't seeing growth. You might see pockets where, like down in Brunswick County, there's some pockets down there where prices have fallen. If you bought your house in 2022, 23, you're probably going to have to sell it for less than what you paid for it if you've done absolutely nothing to this home. Now, that's where it's going to be important for you to make sure that if you decide to sell your home or even buy a home, that your realtor looks into that specific area that you're looking into. Are you in a market that you're seeing growth, or are you seeing an area that really isn't continuing to grow? Now we have some predictions from the National Association of Realtors, and this is why they feel we'll see a recovery. 14% rise in inventory, which is great for buyers. We will see lower rates, probably around 5.8 to 6.1. I've seen some rates as low as 5.5% with FHA and VA loans. In our area, which is, and the income should outpace home prices. So we're hopeful on that as well. So with those three areas, we hope to see this recovery that they're calling. In our area, we're really seeing the benefits still of people migrating to here. We have great climate, the way of life, and the cost of living is really appealing to people pretty much in all aspects of age ranges, whether you're, in your 20s all the way to retirement. And Brunswick County, I cover New Hanover, Pender, and Brunswick County. And I feel Brunswick County has the best opportunities for, especially with new starts. We are seeing new home builders come into the market like Adams and Ryan bringing different array of home styles. And what I'm really enjoying seeing are prices, some brand new homes coming in at the $200,000 mark, which you just won't really see in the other area. So it is giving people that opportunity to have home ownership. So with our nationwide forecast, we're seeing possibly an increase of existing home sales at 14%, new home sales at 5%, with the median home sales price growing about 4%. We talked about mortgage rates around the 6%, job gains at 1.3 million, and an unemployment rate at 4.5%. So what I found interesting this past year is that a lot of home buyers are looking for existing homes to purchase. They like that they feel that homes are sturdier, they have more character. So I would, if you are a home seller and you have a home that's 10, 15 years old, just make sure that you have updates to your roof. Make sure your updates to your water heater and your HVAC units, things like that. Those are the points that people are looking at. But there's definitely a market for new home sales, and some people just don't want to deal with that anymore of having to go into a home and having to deal with other people's problems. So the new home market is definitely still relevant. All right. Okay. And then the spring market. Yeah. So for last, few years, we have not really had a spring market. People would ask us, "Hey, when is the time to buy or sell?" You couldn't put your finger on it because it was just so random. Well, we're definitely starting, especially with 2025, seeing this come back. And between 1952 and 2019, the spring market is where mainly when you saw people buying and selling. So with 40% of sales taking place then, 20% in the summer, and 25% at the end of the year. So I'm personally seeing that now. People are talking about putting their home on the market, talking about buying. So that's really exciting. Now, come back in April and we'll see how these predictions fare and if I still think that we are definitely going on a spring market, but I do really feel that we are. Now, this is our local market. This is our Wilmington MSA. And what that means is this is accumulation of Pender, Brunswick, and New Hanover counties. So we saw a 14% increase of active listings over last year, 12.85% new listings, 11.39% in pending sales. With closed sales, we had 5.44%. Then the median sales price. So let me break it down into the different counties. So with New Hanover County, our median home sales price is $462,500, which is about flat. It's been in and around that. It kind of goes up and down. Pender County, $437,750, which is the same, pretty flat, been going kind of up and down depending on the month. And now Brunswick County, they did see a decrease over last year, and with theirs being at 385,000. Now, my belief is if you took out the new home builds, like in that lower 200,000 range that I was talking about, you would see that increase. Now, I put this stat in here because I just found it incredibly interesting. This is from last year of the first-time home buyers. Now, back in 1985, 75% of married couples made up of our sales. Last year, it was 50%. Single women in 1985 made up 11%. Now it's 25%. What we're seeing too is, if you're a first time home buyer, let's just say you divorced, and you decide to buy your house, you're considered a first time home buyer. So just because you've been married for a while and then whether your spouse is deceased or gets married again or whatever your circumstances, when you're on your own, you're considered a first time home buyer. In 1985, we had about 4% of unmarried couples buying. Now we're seeing 11%. And then others, this is kind of new. In 1985, just people rooming together, buying together that aren't spouses, or maybe they're just best friends. We saw about 4% of the market, and we're actually starting to see more and more people doing that. Where, best friends are getting together and, they can't do it on their own, but, they certainly want to do it together. Now, I left this one last because I just really felt that this was a startling stat where single men only made up 10% of the home sales in 2025. What I heard, now this is, now I don't know if this is fact, but one of Brian Buffini, who gave a talk last month, he's the one that discovered this statistic. He is saying that young men are just not feeling very hopeful, and that they are putting most of their money into crypto and online gambling. In fact, if you listen to this statistic, sports betting in 2018, it was a $5 billion industry. In 2024, it's a $150 billion industry. And the demographics that they are targeting are these men between 18 to 34 years old. So they're opting to do that instead of buying a home. So that's the end of our session. Just kind of wanted to give you what the predictions were for this coming year. We'll talk about that last year in 2025 in April, along with how the first quarter went. But in the meantime, we'll have another lunch and learn, and it's all about insurance. If you are a homeowner, I think this is going to be very beneficial for you to listen to. If there are so many changes with the insurance industry right now that you need to know whether if your house burns to the ground, are you going to be able to build it exactly the way it was? Are you insured enough? They're really cracking down on roofers right now. I saw this and I wish they would have started this a while ago, but you have these roofers come by your home and say, hey, I see a shingle that's missing. We can get you a whole new roof. Well, this really happened after 2018 with Hurricane Florence, and I don't know how many times I've seen people get all these brand new roofs that could have just been easily repaired. And so they are cracking down on it. And you used to be able to get a roof for $7,000, and now it's been almost doubled. So these are just some of the couple of the little things that he'll talk about and things to look forward to in the year and what kind of rate changes there may be. So that one will be a good one to sign up for. I don't think we have any further questions. If you do, let me know. And if you have any questions for me or want to kind of talk more about your area specifically, because it is area by area, even neighborhood by neighborhood, what you can and cannot do with, whether it's buying or selling your home, just feel free to reach out. And you guys have a great week.